Good morning and good afternoon, everyone, depending on the part of the country you are joining us from, as we have participants from coast to coast to coast. I hope that you, your colleagues, and your loved ones are well. Thank you for taking your time out of your day, especially your Zoom call full days, to join us for this day one of the Disability and Work in Canada 2020 virtual conference. My name is Tammy Yates, and I'm the Executive Director at Realize, a national organization in the disability movement as well as the HIV movement in Canada. At Realize, we host the Secretariat of the National Episodic Disabilities Forum. My pronouns are she and her, and I've also been a settler in this land we call Canada for the last 8 years, being originally from the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I was so humbled and pleased when the steering committee for this conference invited me to MC today's virtual event. In pre-COVID times, we would have all been together in Ottawa as in the past. But as sayings go, life is what happens when we're all busy making plans. Life also often shows us that with challenges, there are opportunities, and the opportunity to expand inclusion of the conference to many of you who may not usually be in the position to travel to Ottawa has been one taken very strongly by the steering committee. As shared, the Herculean effort to pull this together, whether virtual or in person, is no easy task, and the following people have put their hat in the ring every time. And for that, we say thanks to the Disability and Work Steering Committee, comprising Alec Farker, Chair, Engagement at the Centre for Research on Work Disability Policy, Maureen Han, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Canadian Council on Rehabilitation and Work, Steve Mantis, Chair, the Research to Action Committee of the Ontario Network of Injured Workers Groups, Ron Saunders, Adjunct Scientist, the Institute for Work and Health, and Emile Tomper, Director at the Centre for Research on Work Disability Policy. I doubly commend the steering committee as they have not shied away from dealing head-on, as you'll see in the agenda, with the disproportionate impacts of COVID-19 on persons with disabilities, as well as seeking meaningful ways to challenge and address racism, as can be seen by the richness of the diversity in the MCs for the conference this year. Thank you to each of you for not shying away from these very often uncomfortable but much needed conversations. As the converging crises of what some may call ableism in the COVID response, as well as anti-Indigenous and anti-Black racism that has been boiling, brewing, and festering within the soul of our societies have culminated over the summer, they've all demonstrated that silence is no longer an option. With all of that being said, let me get to the technical aspects of the conference. So this event, like everything else in our lives, has had to adapt to our current reality. And as such, it will consist of a combination of live and pre-recorded sessions. It also includes recorded vignettes about the lived experience of persons with disabilities or the experience employers of persons with disabilities. Our thanks to the Canadian Association of Supported Employment for the vignettes. Some housekeeping tips before I pass the conference floor to Emile Tomper. The steering committee has made every effort for this event to be as accessible as possible, and to that extent for live sessions and all question and answer sessions. Accessibility services such as bilingual, closed captioning, using CART and ESL interpretation are being provided. So we're gathered here today and over the next few days of the conference. But what are our goals? Firstly, the overall goal is to identify ways to help implement the Pan-Canadian Strategy for Disability and Work, which was developed in consultation with stakeholders and persons with disabilities and shared at the conference a year ago. The first day of the conference, today, focuses on the big picture, initiatives and issues that cut across all elements of the strategy. Tomorrow's sessions, and we're confident that we'll be seeing you tomorrow, will focus on one of two pillars: and that is fostering disability confident and inclusive workplaces. Day 3, which is next week, Tuesday, focuses on the other pillar, and that is developing comprehensive supports for persons with disabilities. The final day of the conference, and that's next week, Wednesday, will focus on moving forward to implement the strategy. We're an action-oriented group, so we want to know how we can implement this thing. With the federal government's announcement about a national disability inclusion plan consisting of 3 areas: 1, a guaranteed income supplement; 2, a streamlined eligibility process for federal programs and benefits; and 3, an employment strategy. What we covered today and over the next few days, some might argue, is more important than ever. At this point, I'd like to wish each of you an enjoyable conference, and I'm pleased to turn the conference floor over to Emil Tomper of the Disability and Work Conference Steering Committee. Thank you.